Based on connectivity, we need to record 4 programs in the fair record. And for the practical exam, out of these 4 programs, any one will come. You need to pick a lot, and the program that you get as lot, you need to do that program in the computer. So connectivity program carries 5 marks. This is the other Python program. It may be from text file, binary file, CSV file, or it may be from data structures using stack and queue. So total 12 marks for Python program. Now, if you observe all the 4 connectivity programs, you can see that they are one and the same. What was the first connectivity program? Create an SQL table by the name student. The columns are roll number, name and total marks. We need to display the details of students who got distinction. What was the second connectivity program? There is an SQL table by the name item. It contains 3 columns: item number, item name and a price. We need to display we need to search for an item in the SQL table. Okay, so in a way the connectivity programs are all one and the same, just the name changes. Now the third connectivity program that you need to record in the fair record is based on books. In a library, several books are there. You need to display the total number of books present in the library. Okay, so we will create an SQL table by the name books. The column numbers are book number, book name and the ISBN number of a book. What is ISBN? International Standard Book Number. It's a 13-digit book number. Okay, so we will create a table based on these 3 columns. We will insert rows and then we will count the total number of books present in a library. Here the only new point is we will make use of a new entity by the name row count. So how to make use of row count? Let me explain in the program. So last video tutor I told you, when you do a connectivity program, first you need to open MySQL. Here you can type the password. So you are in the default database. If you did not create a database by the name class 12, first you have to create that database. Okay, so let me do that. Create database class 12. Now you can use that database, use class 12. Okay, so for this no need to write a Python code. You can do it manually so that the number of lines are reduced. You can close this. Now you can start your Python program. So first take a new file, new file. After that you need to save the file. It's already saved for you. Now you can write the question as a comment. So write a menu driven Python program to count the total number of books in a library. After that you can import all the necessary modules. We know that mysql.connector is required. So let me import that. Import mysql.connector. Now after that you can write the function for displaying the menu. You can see that the menu contains option number 1, create an SQL table by the name book. Option number 2, insert rows, display books. This is the new one. So in fact option number 1, 2, 3 and 6, they are the same for all connectivity program. Only one option changes. Okay, so even though 4 programs are there, they are one and the same. Just change in the name. That's all. Okay, now you need to read, enter your choice. Okay, now after that in connectivity program you need to create a function to establish connection between Python and MySQL. So let me define that function def. It is create connection. Now document string used it to connect Python with MySQL. Now you can write the create table command, because it's not create table command, you are going to create a connection between Python and MySQL. So how do you connect Python with MySQL? There is a function by the name connect. Now this is present in which module? MySQL.connector. So here you can write MySQL.connector. Now the connect function takes 4 arguments. So let me break it, or maybe I can write the first argument. The first argument is host. Host equals localhost. Maybe you understood the meaning of this one. It will not fit in one line, so it's better to break /. Now you can continue here. So host is equal to localhost, meaning the computer where MySQL server is installed. Localhost means in this computer. Now just put a comma. Again continue in the next line /. You can write the username. User equals the default one, root. Now you can write password. Password equals the one that you give, Nava. Maybe you can break /, and the last one, the database. Okay, so here you can enter database. Database equals its class 12. So these are the 4 arguments, and you can store this in a variable connection equals. Okay, so manually you have to create this database, otherwise Python will show an error. Okay, so I created a connection between Python and MySQL. Now in order to execute the various statements, I need to create a cursor object. How can you create a cursor? There is a function by the name cursor. Now this function belongs to which object? The connection object. Okay, so it should be called as connection.cursor. So in order to execute the SQL statements, you have created a cursor object. Store that in a variable cur. So whenever you want to execute an SQL statement, first you can call the function create connection. Thereby a connection will be established between Python and MySQL. The cursor object will also be created. Now you need these variables in the respective function. So return connection comma cursor. So one doubt that may come to your mind is, sir, you did not close the connection here. Actually, this is not the place to close the connection. After executing the SQL statement, we will close the connection. Okay. Now the next function that I require is, in order to create a table, I need a function. So let me create a function by the name create table. Now you can write a comment. Used it to create a table. First, you need to establish a connection between Python and MySQL. So you can copy paste this one. Now this returns 2 variables, the connection variable and the cursor variable. So it's done. Now what do you need to do? You need to write the SQL statement for creating a table. So str SQL equals create table. Okay, it's a string, so you can write it inside double quotes. You can break it here. Again continue. Create table. The name of the table should be written, isn't it? So it's book. Now the first column, it is book number. It is integer, maybe 5 digit. And let me make it a primary key. So primary key. So for the board practical exam, the external examiner may ask you what is a primary key. If you make a column primary key, the meaning is column should not contain duplicate entries and a missing entry. Now here you can put a comma /. Again, book name. It's an array, it's a characters. Varchar, maybe 10 is enough. Okay. Now just put a comma. Let me continue in the next line. And the ISBN number, International Standard Book Number. Okay, it's a 10-digit number. So you can write int. It's a 13-digit number. Okay, 13. So int 13. Now for this opening bracket, you can go for a closing bracket and a semicolon. So please remember this ISBN number is a 13-digit number. So this is very important. So I wrote the SQL statement for creating the table. Now I need to execute the SQL statement. How can you execute an SQL statement? There is a function by the name execute. Now this is a function of the cursor object. So here you can call it as cursor.execute and the SQL statement should be passed. Okay. So this will execute the SQL statement. SQL table will be created in the hard disk, and once the objective is met, you don't need to make the connection alive. You can close the connection. So it is connection dot close. Okay. So these are the two functions created: create connection and a create table. Now the remaining functions: inserting rows into the table, displaying the table, count the number of books in the library. Remaining functions in the next video tutor.